Hello, Basics Bitches. Welcome to another episode of Muscle Monday. I'm your guide through the iron jungle and companion on this journey to a stronger you. Let's break down the basics of strength training with the precision of a weightlifting ninja. Lace up those lifting shoes and prepare for a weekly dose of muscle building wisdom. We believe strength isn't just in the body, it's in the mind, the heart, and the dedication to becoming a best version of yourself. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Call Me Skinny. Excited to be here with you today on a Muscle Monday podcast. We have started the masterclass, The Consistency Over Perfection, which really I just want to go back and name it Ruthlessly Consistent. That's really what it's all about. It's all about learning how to get ruthlessly consistent with your health, with your fitness, with your positive thoughts, with just like, and the cool thing about this is the way it's going to overflow into other spaces and other areas of your life, which is wildly kind of an expectation or something that you don't think that is going to happen. Like, that's not why you started. Like, oh, if I get my shit together in my health, my relationship will get better. Like, we don't realize that, but it absolutely happens. Or my finances will get better, or whatever that might look like for you. But I had a one-on-one client come to this realization. It was just like, this is why I do what I'm doing right now. This is why this work is so important. So if you want to hop in that masterclass, today's the last day to get in. After today, the doors close. So I would love to have you in there. It is, if you listen to the podcast, it's $33. It's a 5-day masterclass, and it's every single day. I've already started giving. So this morning, today, Sunday, I already went in and started talking about things and started dropping into the masterclass to get you guys starting to think about what this whole week is going to be about. So if you are interested, I'd love to have you. Okay. That being said, also Basics on Demand, you can get into that. It's like the Netflix series of training. And then you also get access to other masterclasses. Now, I will say my masterclass that I'm doing right now, you will not have access to. Okay. It's just not going to happen. So this is solely for just this group of people. I may do different trainings on it at different times or different ways, but it is not going to be like an entire class like I'm doing currently. But anyways, in BOD, you have access to other like former master classes as well as the community. So please take advantage and get in there. It's $29 a month right now. Once we hit that 50-person mark, it will go to their original price, which will be $49. So that being said, okay, let's get into today's topic, today's podcast. And I want to talk a little bit about this. This is not just with your fitness piece of this journey. This can be with anything or in any aspect or area of life. But I really want to talk about this because this is something that I hear a lot. In another group that I'm in, I was asked to kind of head on or help head or help, whatever you want to call it, help manage, if you will, whatever. A walking challenge, and it's called Walking into Wellness or some Walk to Wellness or something. And, I see a lot of different goals for women and reasons why, right? There's always a justification. We have to justify why we can't do something, why we need to do something. Our brain needs a logical reason to define that thing for us so that we can feel better about it. So we can feel like we're doing progress. So we can feel like all these things. Anyways, I just totally lost train of thought there for a second, but so, there's always a reason why. And I'm going to say this, I'm also speaking at an event in October, all about body image. And this event is for high school females and, older. So if you have a high school daughter, I will be actually talking about this on here as well. But it is a local event. But anyway, so I'm speaking at this event and I'm speaking about body image. And this is why I say, like, while I'm going to talk about it specifically today towards fitness, this can really be applicable anywhere in life. So where we focus is what we see. Okay. And in this fitness space, I'm in a lot of different fitness groups. I talk about them all the time and I see all these things, right? We are so focused on the things that our body cannot do. Our body doesn't allow us to do. We focus on all of the negative because it allows us to use that as an excuse to not get up and fucking get moving. Okay. What does that mean? I have bad knees. I can't walk. I have bad knees. I can't do lunges. I have bad knees. I have this. I have a bad hip. I can't do that. My shoulder feels this way. I lose breath too fast. I can't do that. Oh yeah, I would never be able to do that. I can't even give like specific examples, which is kind of bad, but like of things that I hear constantly from women on all the reasons why they can't do something, on all the negative shit about their body as to why their body is the limitation that prevents them from doing the thing. And this is what I'm going to tell you. That's all the more reason that you should be getting up and doing the thing. Okay? I know a lot of people right now will take offense to this. Maybe they won't. I don't know. I guess it really doesn't matter. I'm going to say it anyway. A lot of why I do what I do right now, one is for my kids, because I don't want my kids to have the same problems I have, had, whatever. Okay. Number two. Anybody watch Austin Powers? Number 2. Okay. Sorry. That movie and that inside joke goes so far back. Okay. Number 2 is because I don't want to be like my mom and dad. I don't want to end up like my mom and dad, which is having knee replacements and hip replacements and out of breath walking to the car and inability to walk up and down stairs without holding onto the rail because I have no balance. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that person, which is all the more reason you need to figure out a way. And I'm not saying to like, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm like, oh my God, just go against the complete doctor's orders or go against this thing over here or don't do this thing over here. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Your limitation physically is way perpetuated so much more by your brain than what you even can comprehend. I had this conversation with my daughter the other day where she was really upset because she's back in the weight room with her team. And she's like, I can't. It's like embarrassing that I can't lift more than the bar. I said, because of your belief system, it's what you think you can't do. Physically, you're capable. If you were to just get out of your own way. So too many times in the gym, we had like a whole scene in the whole gym about the fact that she should just get under the bar and just do the thing. And it's okay if she fails, and it's okay if it's too heavy, and it's okay. I'm right there and I'm not going to let it fall on her, and she's not going to die. All these things. But she logically couldn't get herself out of that headspace to do the thing. So we were never able to progress far enough into a weight or a rep range of even just the bar that worked for her. Because she couldn't get out. All she could do is focus on, but I can't. And like I told her the other day when she got in the car and she started complaining about it. And I said, but you can. I've seen you do it. Yeah, but for just 2 reps. And I was like, okay, but you still can. You're sitting here telling me that you can't do something that you actually can do. But you're so focused on what you can't do. Oh, for only 2 reps. Okay, but that's 2 reps more than some people can do. And even without that whole like comparison, that's 2 more reps than you were able to do when you first started. And if you could have gotten out of your own way in the gym instead of spending 25 minutes arguing with me about all the things you can't do, you probably could have gotten a lot further and progressed more because you allowed yourself to fail, quote unquote fail. Fail in the gym is not the same as like what I talked about last week. Maybe that's a podcast episode. Okay, also, for the record, I got a new phone and it had all of my notes, all of my noodle notes, all the things that I think about as things pop, and I cannot recover it. It was in a app called Signal. Sorry, I'm like writing this down so I don't forget, because I will forget because I'm a squirrel. Failing in the gym. And so now I cannot recover it because it was in an app that I needed my old phone to sync to first before I got rid of my old phone. And I had to turn in my old phone because it was defective. So I couldn't keep my old phone. And they gave me just a replacement phone, which was wonderful. And I didn't have to pay for it. And that was so kind of them. But then they didn't tell me that on that app. And maybe they didn't know. They did ask me about WhatsApp because WhatsApp is like that. But they may not know that on Signal, you also have to have your shit connected to that old phone for it to transfer. So I lost all my noodle notes. So I'm starting a whole noodle notes thing, and I'm starting to keep it in a different place so that I can recover it. Okay. Anyways, side note, failing in the gym is not the same as failing in the sense of failing your health or failing your, of quitting, that kind of a thing. Okay. When we fail in the gym, it's because literally it is kind of the same, like our body quits. And oftentimes our body quits a lot sooner because our brain tells it it's too hard, it's too heavy, you can't do this. Like, here's a really good, for instance, when I was doing chest press and working on my powerlifting meet, I never wanted a 45 plate on the bar when I chest whatever. Why? Because that shit psyched me the fuck out. It psyched me the fuck out. What happened though, the problem with that is that when I got to the competition, guess what goes on the bar? A 45. So I never prepared myself for that kind of headspace, to be in that space. And guess what? It psyched me out. It psyched me the fuck out. So understanding like your brain will fucking trick the shit out of you. Even it does this with food. It does this with the gym. It does this with pain. I mean, let's just be honest, lady. Any ladies sitting here who have had children, let me tell you, the pain and the things that your body has already gone through, lunges with a little bit of a knee ache is a motherfucking walk in the park. Okay? I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it like it is. Now, I'm not saying that means there's something going on with the knee, with your forearm, with something obviously has to be fixed. Okay? But it's like our pain tolerance is so much higher than what we give it credit for. And our brain will talk us out of doing things because, ooh, that's scary, and ooh, that's uncomfortable, and oh, that's heavy. Oh my gosh. Like, how many of you guys have heard the little memes or seen the little memes? And I don't know how much you guys watch gym, like scroll for like gym things or not, but it always is in my feed, like a metal plate is heavier than a rubber plate. I don't know why, but it's just truth. It's just got to be the truth. I don't know why it's the truth, but supposedly they're both 45 pounds or 25. I don't believe it. I don't fucking believe it. Okay. So what I'm telling you is that your mind will absolutely play tricks on you. And so when you go into this headspace of like, I can't, it's too heavy, it'll be hard, I don't think I can, you're going to amplify that. It's going to get amplified. And guess what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to do it, right? Exactly what I told my daughter. Well, guess why you can only do 2 reps? Because you keep telling yourself you can't do more than that, or that you can't do it at all. So of course that's what you think. Of course that's where you're going to stop. Of course you're not going to progress. Of course it's not going to get better. Because you don't want it to. You are completely stopping yourself from that happening. No, that's not it. Yes, it is, actually. Go in with the confidence of like, okay, I'm going to go for 5 and see what happens. Like if I only get 3, I'm okay with that. I'm going for 5 though. Once you start flipping that mindset, again, it doesn't matter gym, health, food. It's all just a matter of getting your body and your brain on the same page and telling yourself, I don't give a shit what you think, brain. Fuck off. I don't really care. Too bad. This is what I'm doing. And your brain will be like, oh, she's really serious about this. Okay. So in order to not die, we have to actually do more reps. Okay. And then it will fucking do more reps. That's as simple as what it is. But our brain, I've read like David Goggins a while ago, a long while ago, like 3, 4, 5 years maybe now. I don't even know. He's a little much sometimes for me. I mean, I'm sure I'm much for other people as well. But so that being said, he used a stat, and I don't remember the stat, but it's like your brain will have you tap out of what your body's actually capable of at like around 30 or 40%. When you think about how low and little that is, that means that you have 60 to 70% physical, whatever you want to call it, to give still. But your brain's like, no, we don't like that. That's uncomfortable. That's heavy. That's no. Right? Which is why it's like, I never once pulled 265 in the gym training for my powerlifting meet. The highest I ever pulled was 2 reps at 245. That's it. And I started at 245. And then I went to 255 and I pulled 255. And then I went to 265 and I pulled 265. And there was this little piece of me that was like, I bet I could have pulled 270. I bet I could have done it. And I didn't do it. Why? Because my brain was like, no, just tell them 265. You're fine there. You don't need to do more than that. And so I was like, okay, 265. That sounds reasonable. That sounds like I can do it. That feels okay. Blah, blah, blah. Could I have pulled 270? Fuck yeah, I could have. looking back on it now, after having lifted that, I was like, oh yeah, I could have pulled probably 275. One, you got adrenaline, you got all this stuff, right? But my brain out-tapped my body. It said, nah, uncle, we're out. We're out, girl, we're out. And your brain will constantly do this to you in the gym, where it's telling you that you can't keep going, or you can't do this, or it's like, yeah, all this stuff. But here's the problem with that, is where you focus then. You keep focusing on that negative stuff. You keep focusing in that space. So of course you can't do those things. And then you use it as an excuse. Well, I need this. I had this done to my body, or I had shoulder replacement, or I had this replaced, or I had that replaced, and now I can't do. Yes, you can. Yes, you fucking can. I see people do it who have had those things. And the difference between you and the difference between them is that they're going to still go do it. The fucking thing. They're going to keep going. They're not going to let that hold them back. Now, that doesn't mean they haven't adjusted. It doesn't mean they haven't lessened weight. It doesn't mean they haven't lessened time. It doesn't mean they haven't changed things. All those things still might be real. Again, living in duality space. Those things can be real, and they kept going. They can be real things. Right? This is by no means me telling you to go into the gym and get hurt and do all these things. I want to be super clear. That's not the point. But the point is that we often talk ourselves out of doing things because we think that we can't, because that is where we focus. That is where we become hyper vigilant. This is actually the reason I brought up the October event, is because I'm talking about this in body image form. I'm talking about how we have this thing in our brain called the reticulating activating system, reticulator activating, whatever it is. I should probably look it up before I go speak in front of a whole bunch of fucking people. But the point that I'm making is that it focuses where it wants to focus. It filters everything out. The brain filters out so many things, and then it'll focus on the thing that you want it to focus on, which again is why when you buy a red car, all of a sudden you start seeing red cars. When you buy a Ram, you start seeing Rams. When you have a blue Traverse, now all of a sudden you start seeing blue Traverse. It's what happens. It's the filtering system, and it's real, and it's a part of who we are. It's built in automatically to help keep you safe, to also filter the bullshit, the things that are not important to you. So when you focus on specific spots that are negative, that are unhelpful, that are guilt and shame, that don't move you forward, that is what is going to continuously hold you back, is all the things that are keeping you stuck, because that's where your filter is. That is what you're focusing on. That is what you deem to be important. And in my opinion, and it's probably unscientific, it's a way to keep you stuck. It's a way to keep you from having to do the hard shit, the hard work, whether it's subconsciously, whether it's consciously, doesn't fucking matter. If I have to hear one more woman say, I got to get my shit together, I'm going to fucking punch you in the face. I love you. Then just get it to goddamn together. Just do it. Tell your brain to shut up and sit down and get on board, because this is what we got going on. So if you're using your ailment, I'm not saying that if you're injured, again, that you should be going and doing all these different things. That's not what I'm saying. But if you have had a hip replaced, if you have had a knee replaced, if you've had a shoulder replaced, if you have a low back thing, if you have bad knees, if you have whatever, plantar fasciitis, if you have all these things, there are still ways to do things for you that can help, that can move you forward. Here's what I'm going to tell you right the fuck now. This is what I'm going to tell you. And this is going to be mean. And it's okay, because I wasn't any different. But if you are overweight and you have been overweight for a really long time, okay? And then you have to start having joints replaced. Part of the reason you have to have your joints replaced is because your body cannot handle the weight. That's the truth. Yes. Are there other factors in these situations? Sure. Right? Could you have arthritis? Absolutely. But why do you have that? Why do you have that? Remember that any autoimmune disease, and I'm not trying to make this like a regular podcast, I'm trying to stick to Stick to the gym, stick to the training, stick to the movement piece of Muscle Monday, okay? But autoimmune diseases are they were triggered. That is why they went from dormant to on fire. If you have a thyroid problem, if you have a gut problem, if you have an insert whatever problem, anything that's autoimmune, PCOS, thyroid, I already said thyroid. Got so many things. So many things. I can't even think of all of them. Anything that's autoimmune was triggered by an event that took place in your life where your body was like, whoop, time to start reacting now. Okay, boop, 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 boop. Here we go. So you will have other things that affect what you're able to do. But then it becomes, why are those other things now affecting? So if you are a person that has been obese, overweight for the majority of your life or your adult life, and your body is carrying around extra weight, your body was not made to carry that weight. You're not quote unquote big boned. I'm sorry. Your bones are pretty much damn near the same from the time you hit like adult to all the way till you die. That's not entirely true. They do get smaller for women and osteoporosis and all things. Again, we can have that whole conversation. That's a whole different going to church moment. Okay. But you're not big boned. That was my thing. Oh, I'm big boned. No, honey, you have fat. You have fat on your body that doesn't belong there. That's what that was me. That was a hard slap in the face, a hard realization of like, oh, big boned isn't. Oh, shit. Now what am I going to blame this on? How about your poor eating habits? How about your lack of movement, lack of self-care, lack of feeling worthy for it, lack of feeling like you deserve it? We could start there. That's a whole different ball of wax. But if you're having a hard time moving right now, if you are overweight and you're like, Sarah, but everything hurts. It all hurts. You have to just start. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It's not going to hurt. You will not be in pain. That is a reality that you have to fucking buck up and own. You have to own that. So if you are overweight and you have to have something replaced, I cannot stand the people like, I have to go have this, I don't know, knee replaced. I have to have my knee replaced and it's like so awful and it's so this and it's like, great. But like, how did you get to that spot? Nobody wants to have that fucking conversation. I guarantee you when you go to your orthopedic surgeon, I mean, unless you actually did something to hurt it and injure it, and you fell and broke a hip, or you were running and you fell and you hurt your knee, or like there are situations, and this is a real thing, okay? But the majority of people that have to have this done, it's because you are overweight for too long. You're not doing anything about it, and that's a harsh truth. And no orthopedic surgeon is going to look at you in the face and say, yeah, well, your body can't handle the weight anymore. Somebody that I recently was put in contact with has to lose weight before she even has surgery. Why do you think that is? Because you have to be able to hold up your own motherfucking body to recover. Hello? How do you that's great. You can go get a new knee or a new hip or a new whatever, but you got to be able to hold yourself fucking up. And if you're too overweight to do that on one leg stably, that is a problem. But you're so focused on all the things your body can't do. Yeah, but I can't walk. I can't move. I can't. It hurts. I can't. It hurts because you're not. Bodies were not made to sit still. Bodies were made to move. Bodies were made to move. Bodies were made to move. Period. It is a hard truth. And I say this with nothing but love and empathy because I have been there. I have been there where my body didn't move comfortably. Where I couldn't bend down and tie my shoes. I have been there. And even when I started, it was uncomfortable. And I'm not talking like, oh, people are looking at me at the gym. No, I'm like, the fat is uncomfortable. The sweat is uncomfortable. I'm sweating in places that I didn't even know existed. Like, what is happening? Physically, it's uncomfortable in whatever way that might be for you. Stop focusing on all the things that you cannot do. Pick one thing that you can. Can you get up and walk around your house 10 times a day? Can you walk up and down the stairs 10 times a day at your house? Can you walk around your block one time? Slowly, gradually add on to that one time. What can you do? What are you capable of? And start there and stop worrying about all the things you can't do. Start focusing on the things that you can. What can you do? Somebody actually followed me on Instagram the other day, and she reached out to me and she was like, oh, I love your content, blah, 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 blah. She gave me like her whole life story. Cool. And so she was talking about how she can no longer go to the gym because she has some disease in her hands where she loses grip really fast and all this stuff. I was like, oh, well, I mean, that makes a lot of sense because that can be scary, right? If you're actually going to lose the grip of a dumbbell or a barbell and drop it on you, you can hurt yourself. You can hurt other people. Like that's serious shit. Again, there are cases and scenarios in which this is real. And I just asked her, I said, have you ever thought about doing banded work or work done on a TRX versus dumbbells? So that way, if you fall or if you drop a band or something like that, you don't get hurt. I mean, you can get hurt falling, but like if her legs can work appropriately, and I don't mean this in a rude way, but if her legs can work appropriately, then she can still hopefully kind of catch herself, right? Okay. She's like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that before. I said, yeah, everything that you can do with a dumbbell or a barbell, you can do with a band. She was like, that is fucking genius. Thank you. There are solutions out there to your problems, ladies, if you want them. There are solutions to your problems if you want them. You just have to be willing to focus on something that you can do versus the thing that you cannot, or the things that you cannot do, and start there. All right, I'm done. That was way longer than I wanted it to be. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I hope you set yourself up for success. Today's the last day to hop in to the Consistency Over Perfection Masterclass, where we are getting ruthlessly consistent. Have a great day.